Twinkle, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Before it goes boom, blow, how you like America now? Babylon the Great profile, terror, full-blown terror, spreading like gossip on Gerardo Rivera. Terror, devil to step to the Israelite zone, but they all get enslaved with the scriptures, baby, it's on. We too strong to have a march like a poo, but I'd rather feel my sword to your guts. I'm nuts for the truth and the knowledge of the Bible, and fucking red devils for survival with your house shine. Oh, you forgot about Christ, you crooks, enslaved his holy people with the good book you took. Mercy, mercy, you was bloodthirsty. Now you wanna go to heaven first, see, but pardon me. While the angels and you call UFOs are beaming us up, you gon' get struck with a bomb.
Right to invade with the streets. America get ready to be bombed with the nukes and the skies. To invade with the streets. America get ready to be bombed with the nukes and the skies. To invade with the streets. America get ready to be bombed with the nukes and the skies.
And so as we say goodbye to our dark friends and neighbors,
America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the skies. To invade with the streets. America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the skies. To invade with the streets. America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the skies. To invade with the streets. America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the skies. Fire in the sky. Breaking through the depths of the fourth dimension.
Okay, my name is Yashiya, and I've been in this for close to 40 years now. I came in under the teachings of High Priest Yashiya, Masha, and Yahweh. Many years ago, I came into this knowledge in the 70s, in the latter part of the 70s. And in less than 2 years, I had worked my way through the ranks and moved up to one of the highest officerships in there at that time, which was 10,000. I also became one of the military captains dealing with the military as far as training them in discipline and martial arts and so on and so forth. All this stuff is documented. I have it on film. Over the years, God had blessed me and he put a spirit on me to study and to begin to really go deep into the Bible and study the ancient history. Because to prove many things in the Bible, if you want to really prove anything, you got to know the history. You got to know the archaeology. You got to have archaeological and historical facts to back up what you're saying, so that people, though they may talk, you're coming with facts. Whether they're going to accept the facts or not, you stand on facts. The evidence will show the truth and the facts. The history and the archaeology back the Bible up 100%. Now, the question has been posed to many different Israelite groups, and many of these brothers, I don't want to call names. I don't have to call names, but I've taught a whole lot of them. Some of them still are trying to go in the right direction. Some of them have swayed off and have started doing their own things and want to believe in a lot of insane things like the Immaculate Conception and all this nonsense that we taught against. One of the first things we taught when you came into the Israelite church in 1 West 125th Street, is we made everybody recite the 10 Commandments when we recited in Hebrew. And one of the penalties in that 10 Commandments that if you rape somebody, you were to be put to death. So you got to understand that when you're reading in the book of Deuteronomy, when it says, if you find a maid in a field, and you force her, that don't mean take a baseball bat and knock her down and cock her legs up in there and jump on top of her like a wild animal and rape her. Rape is one of the most horrible things that can happen to a woman, and it happens to men too in prison. But what God meant when he said, if you force her and she doesn't scream, that meant that you forced that woman through your conversation. You rap to her, because no woman is going to lay down with you if you just try to hold her down. Just think about it. I got sisters and all of that, and brothers and all of that. And if you was to rape my sister and I caught you out there in the woods, I'd cut your testicles off, because I know you're not supposed to be raping anyone. So to allow Satan to enter into you and to put that thought in your mind is demonic, that you can rape a woman. You think David raped Bathsheba? No, he rapped to her, even though she was another man's wife, and he was later on, he was punished for that. You don't go around raping women. Nowhere in the Bible is it telling you to rape, because right up above that verse in Deuteronomy, when you go to Deuteronomy, I believe, Matthew, the 23rd chapter, we're going to go there very quickly, and we're going to break down that 12 tribe sign also. We're going to go there. There's a lot of misconceptions, but you have to prove what you're saying. You also have to have a thing called common sense. There's the 22nd chapter of Deuteronomy. I'm going to get right to the point. I mean, there's laws that even protect animals in the Bible. There are laws that protect birds and different animals, and if you don't treat them right, you can be killed. You can be killed, according to the laws of God, for mistreating a bird. How much more a woman, an Israelite woman, or any woman? But in Deuteronomy, the 23rd chapter, the 22nd chapter, in the 25th verse, it says this: but if a man find a betrothed damsel in a field, and the man force her and lie with her, and then the man only that lay with her shall die. Did you hear that? Is that if you force a woman, you're gonna be put to death, man. Now, how you gonna read that and think that that means you can force a woman? He says because it says betrothed. In other words, oh, she already got a husband. No, wait a minute. Whether she got a husband or not, you're not to rape a woman. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. It's like you're trying to kill somebody. You're trying to rape a woman. You think a woman is going to enjoy that? Only a woman that has 11 demons in her would enjoy that. That's 5,011. When I say 11. Sarnetta, you know what I'm talking about. You from the old school. Yeah.
How does that make the Hebrews look on the street when they walk by and they hear the elders out there and they talking about it's all right to have sex with little girls, 13-year-old, a grown man can have sex with little girls and even rape her if you want. How does that make the Hebrews look? You see, because a lot of people on the street, they don't even want to be involved in nothing like that once they hear Hebrews talking like that.
Let me say this. First of all, a lot of them don't study the ancient history to understand what really took place in those ancient days. It's true that Mary, the Virgin, the mother of Christ, was a very young girl between the ages of anywhere from 13 to 15. I would say more or less about 15. And she met an older man, a man that was old enough to be her father, Joseph. But he was a righteous man. He was a man that had a few dollars also. He was a carpenter. He wasn't a poor man. That man got with this woman, and he impregnated her before they came together in holy matrimony. The mother and father agreed that Joseph can marry their daughter. Older men married younger women in those days. They didn't rape them. If they did, they would be put to death.
So there was no immaculate conception.
There was no immaculate conception. I'm glad. Nowhere in the Bible does it say there's an immaculate conception. I'm glad you asked that question because I'm going to show you where the immaculate conception came from. The name of this book is called The Secret History of the Jesuits. Now, the Jesuits are part of the priesthood of the Roman Catholic Church. Now, let's see where this immaculate conception came from. On page 60 in this book, this is what it says concerning the immaculate conception. And this is in the bottom of the first paragraph. It says, Duns Scott's doctrine of the immaculate conception was enthusiastically adopted by the order, meaning the Jesuit order, which was successful in having it made into a dogma by Pius IX in 1854, a pope. Am I making that up? Does it not say that this whole concept was created by the Catholic Church? It was created by the Jesuit priests.
You are correct, my
friend. And this is documented not only in this book, but many other books. Yeah, I'm going to open up the page. It's on page 60. Yeah, it's on page 60 and paragraph, the bottom half of the first paragraph on page 60. If you can get this book, a lot of times the CIA and the government, they pull these books right. Right. And you can look at the part that I have highlined, and I think I have red writing right next to it. You can see where it says the word Dun Scott. Can't make this stuff up. So it's easy for you to jump up and say, when you're reading in Matthew's, when it says a virgin shall conceive, that only meant that a virgin was going to get pregnant. She was no longer a virgin after she met Joseph. Can people count? Can they think? How would Mary be able to go to Joseph and say, guess what, I'm pregnant, but I got a surprise for you. It's not your kid. In those days, the law was she was to be stoned to death. If she was impregnated by another man, she would be considered a whore. You're going to say, God had to come down and lay with Mary, right? You know how stupid that sounds? God did not impregnate Mary. He did not lay down with Mary. God is not the author of confusion. Mary was impregnated by Joseph before they got married. And when you read that part, that a lot of you Israelites, some of you that are going off, saying that it was an immaculate conception because the scriptures say he knew her not until the child was born. That meant that he didn't have any more sex with her after she got pregnant. That's all that means. But you done took this thing and done went into the twilight zone with it. Just like some of you are reading and misconstruing the scripture in Deuteronomy, that you can rape a girl. If you raped a woman in the past, you was put to death. That's what happened to you. The penalty for rape is death. Most of these guys is out there talking like that. They know the first thing we taught them when they came in this knowledge, that the penalty for rape was death. We used to make them read it on the wall. Rape is totally against the Lord. And that's what I just read in Deuteronomy 22 and 25, right, Mata? Yeah. Deuteronomy 22:25. And listen at this next part. Now, this is in the 27th verse. For he found her in a field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to help her. So you're supposed to kill that man. Kill that man. She had a husband. But even if she doesn't have a husband, and you try to physically force her, see, there's different levels of force. I can force you to do something right now just through talking to you. That's very easy. If two guys come in a room, and there's a guy in there, and they say, listen, we want you to go out there and break in that car. And he says, man, I'm not going to break that car. That's not my car. And they pull out a gun. They said, now listen, we're going to tell you, you're going to go break in that car, or we're going to blow your brains out. Then they forced that guy to go do that, and they didn't touch him now. They didn't blow his brains out. They just showed him a weapon of mass destruction. And then he went and he broke the car because he feared that his his brains were going to be splattered on the ground. But in the instant with these women here, this is talking about you force them through your conversation. You talk to the woman, you say, look, you're beautiful, I love you, I want you to be my wife. And listen, I'm not going to harm you. I know you're a virgin and all that, but don't you want a husband one day? And she think about it, and she look at you and say, I've been thinking about it. Well, why don't you get with me? I'm not going to harm you. I guarantee you, I'm going to marry you if anything happens. If you get pregnant, you're going to be my wife. And that is the deal. If you lay down with a virgin, she is your wife. I guarantee no woman wants to lay down with somebody that's hitting her over the head and trying to rape her.
Beautiful breakdown. For the stories I've been hearing from some of the Hebrew Israelites saying, brother, the High Priest Yashiya don't teach no more, I can see that that's a lie. I see you still have your classes going on, so I see it firsthand that's a lie right there. Right. What I want to ask you, brother, is about the 12 tribe chart. How did that come about? How accurate is it? How accurate is it? Where did it come from? How did it come about?
Well, let me say this. That 12 tribe breakdown is one of the world's best kept secrets. And that's something that One West had completely correct. And let's get some understanding. One West was not the only Hebrew Israelite faction in the United States. There were many factions before us. One of the main factions that existed before us was a group called the Commandment Keepers. They were right here in New York. They go all the way back to Nat Turner. Now, let me name 3 significant people that were members of that group, and when they left, they became something else. Martin Luther King, sir, the father of Martin Luther King. He was a member of the Commandment Keepers. He knew he was a black Jew. He remained that until the day he died. Martin Luther King, his son, was scared of it. He didn't want to be part of it. He wouldn't touch it. Elijah Muhammad, the so-called Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm going to say it again. The so-called Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whose slave name from Georgia was Richard Poole. He was a member.
Not Elijah Poole, Richard Poole.
Richard Poole. He was a member of the Commandment Keepers. And that's where he learned that the white man was the devil from. That's why he used to, when he became a Muslim, because he listened to a white boy named Farad Muhammad and decided to leave the Commandment Keepers and become this Muslim entity, he started calling the white man the devil, though it was a white man that instructed him that he should tell his people that they are Muslim. Now, another guy that was a member of that group was Marcus Garvey. Now, many of you will look on the internet for this information. You can't find it because they pulled it off. This information was circling around 30 years ago, 35 years ago. It was out. People that did research knew it. And you may or may not be able to find it on the internet now because the internet is a control mechanism. It's controlled by the elite, by the Illuminati, and they put on there whatever they want to put on there. What they don't want to put on there, they take off. For example, they won't tell you Time Magazine, not Time Magazine, but Jet Magazine did an article on the singer, Chaka Khan, with all those hit records, that she was one of the children of Elijah Muhammad. They did a whole article on that. And if you can get that article, if you can get it from Jet Magazine, they state that she was one of the children of Elijah Muhammad. And she hated her father. She had all kind of hit records out. But that Jet Magazine did an article, that's something I'll never forget, on Chaka Khan being one of the so-called illegitimate children of Elijah Muhammad. Now, so you got Marcus Garvey, who went into a radical black, wanting to go back to Africa, and got the money and got the ships and everything. Yet the white man saw it, they said, wait a minute, nigga, you ain't going back to Africa? I didn't tell you you can leave. He got the money, got him ships, got him all of that. They cut Marcus Garvey off. Elijah Muhammad, they didn't bother him. Why? Because he became a Muslim. So they knew that was no threat. They knew that that would take us away from our true identity. But Martin Luther King, sir, he continued to teach that until he died. But his son rejected it. His son wouldn't accept it. You understand? So these are facts. You may be able to find it on the internet, and you may not. Another thing, Malcolm X said in one of his final speeches on a tape that one of the brothers I know named Kazak, High Priest Kazak, was the first one to let me hear this. Many years ago, I heard it with my own ears several times. The Malcolm X, before they killed him, he said that in the future, men are going to come before you, and they are going to tell you that you are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I'm going to quote him verbatim. Malcolm said out of his own mouth, I tell you, believe them. Shortly after that, he was killed. I don't have to go into that story to tell you that that was a CIA operation, that they used the Muslims to kill Malcolm because he had spoken against this so-called leader who was not a perfect man, just like no man is perfect on this earth. No man walking around on this earth is perfect. All men have their flaws. Every black group that exists on this earth is infiltrated by the government. There's not one, any Israelite group that's getting any kind of fame or popularity on the internet, I guarantee you 1,000% that they are infiltrated by government spies. And most of the time, what'll happen is they'll come in with another doctrine, or they'll try to indoctrinate brothers with other philosophy, and they'll cause confusion within the school or the camp, and the next thing you know, they go away from their original teachings. Next thing you know, they take a man and uplift that man as though he's God Almighty. But what I didn't know that Marcus Garvey was a member of the Commandment Keepers. And the Commandment Keepers were black Jews here in New York that had over 1 million members. And they sold their first synagogue to the white man purchased in America, they bought it, the so-called Jew, fake Jews, they bought it from the Commandment Keepers. Now, what the Commandment Keepers did was different from One West. When you read about Rabbi Bibbins, he was the leader of our little school that we had in One West. He comes out of that group, out of the Commandment Keepers and all of them. And One West, the difference with us was we were the only group that was going out in the street face to face in front of that white man, downtown in his neighborhood, downtown in the Jewish neighborhood, where the Commandment Keepers and the other groups, they went on the inside and they taught on inside the temple. But we were more radicalized. We went out in the street. We were the only group that went down there and fought 200 cops and survived. Only 8 of us was out there that night, and if it wasn't for the angelic beings, we would have been dead. We got surrounded, and we fought 200 cops one night on 42nd Street. This is a fact. Other brothers that were there, I can call a brother. His name is Parakium. He was there that night. He would bear witness to that. One brother named Katai, he got hit over the head. That was the only harm that was done. He got smashed over the head with a nightstick, and we had to take him to Harlem Hospital. But then there was a woman that followed us that saw the whole thing. She came up to Harlem Hospital and told us that night that, you know, those cops that jumped y'all, 200 of them now. I'm not exaggerating. She said that 500 gypsies came out that night and beat the hell out of them cops in that same area. They came out with swords and baseball bats and all that, and the cops ended up getting beat down. So God was with us. I've seen God's spirit work over the years. So I'm not here to do some of the madness that I see going on the internet, wasting my time and my energy taking shots at other groups, taking shots at other Israelites, trying to belittle other Israelite groups, trying to belittle people, period. That's not what this is about. It's not about me trying to sit here and think that I'm greater or bigger than this guy or that guy, or take a shot at that Israelite group or that Israelite group or that Israelite group. I see some guys on the internet are real niggas. They got nothing else to do but sit down and take shots at every Israelite group that exists when they're the most wicked group among them. When they ain't got no following, ain't even got clean clothes to wear, but want to sit down and take shots at everybody because they got a chip on their shoulder and they're angry. And then the only thing, they don't talk like prophets, the ones that this shoe fits wear it. Christ never came out and used bad profanity on people 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You think if Christ was walking around, he sat down with the disciples and said, well, you know what? Those damn Pharisees, those Sadducees, you know what I'm saying? I can't wait to kill them niggas. No, he didn't talk like that. Christ was a holy man, and he had holy speech come out of his mouth. And everybody listened to him when he spoke. Blacks, whites, white people, they came out and listened to him also. And some of them were healed. More than the incident of the one woman getting healed whose daughter had the devil in her. There were other instances where Edomites got healed and believed on Christ, even though they're not chosen. We know they've been chosen to play the part of the devil. But at different times, Christ had compassion on different people. During the time of Christ, he lived during the time of Roman occupation of Jerusalem. Now, you asked me to break down this 12 tribe sign and why we're so spent on knowing that it's correct. There's much archaeology to show that. Here's a book right here called... yeah, and that's amazing. See, that's a Hebrew Israelite. That looks like that's Rabbi Matt. Marcus Garvey came out of that movement himself, but that's been kept secret. You try to go on the internet to get it and all that. Oh, you can't find it, you know. But anyway, let me say this. I want you to see the name of this book here. It's called History of the American Indian by James Adair. Now, I want you to understand something what's on the front of this book. This don't look nothing like an Indian because the Indians are black. So-called Native American Indians are black. A lot of them things you see running around on the reservation today are nothing but Will Rogers kids. And that's a whole nother story. But I'm going to show you one thing, Sinetta, before I break down that 12 tribe sign. Yes, here's a book called, now this is about nothing but American Indians. The name of this book is called The Great Chiefs. the great chiefs. And I want to know, do Indians look like this? That's what I want to know. I want to find out, do they look like, Frenchmen? Or do they look like niggas? Let's find out. We're going to find out in this book called The Great Chiefs. What do the real North American Indians look like? Now, I'm not knocking out all the ones that are fair-skinned, because you're going to have many of them that are fair-skinned because of the rape and the robbery and the murder that went on among them throughout their nations, that the white man mingled his seed up in there and tried to destroy them. But you can't get better than this. This is a meeting of members of the Dreamer group. They're calling it a cult. But this is back in 1860, this picture was taken. Surrounding the prophet, this is because them Indians was calling themselves prophets. That's how you know they were Israelites also. He got a difficult name. Samohala Center with the white shirt, who preached that the Indian dead would rise and drive the white man from their land. Joseph shared Shahamala's reverence for land, but not his anti-white bias. Now look, all the great chiefs, you got all these different chiefs in here, Indians. I want you to understand, these are Aboriginal American Indians, and you don't get a white face out of none of them. Every one of them is black as charcoal. Now that's in 1860. Yes. They're black as charcoal. Where's this white Indian stuff? They don't look like Will Rogers kids. These are true American Indians still walking around today. Many of them live in South Dakota, North Dakota. Some of them live down in Florida, in the Florida Keys and swamps, in different parts of North Carolina, South Carolina. Hell, my grandmother was Cherokee Indian. She was this black as tar. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, another soldier, that's right. But I'm showing you the real image of what the real Indian looked like. Right. So when the white man said redskin, what do you see any red-skinned people here? What's this nonsense about Indians being red? Do you see a red Indian in here? Now this is in black and white. There's no red Indian here. Everything on here is black as shoe polish. I just wanted to get that picture up good. The name of that book again, and this is on page 170 and page 171. One more time. The name of that book is called The Great Chiefs. It's by, I think it's Time and Life magazine. Time Life magazine. You probably can't even get it now. You might be able to get it, but, do you want to know why we say that the North American Indians and the different people on that sign are Israelites? Well, here's a white boy named James Adair. He lived among the North American Indian for years. And he learned all their customs, Sinetta. And he found out that all the customs that these Indians kept were customs of black Hebrew Jews. And this is what he says on page 26 in the top paragraph. In behalf of Adair, talking about James Adair, in his theory of the Jewish origin of the American Aborigines, meaning North American Indians, it should be pointed out that a long line of writers, both before and after him, held the same view. Soon after the discovery of America, the theory was advanced that the Indians derived from the lost tribes of Israel. I got it documented right there. You want to know why we say these people are our people and that they're Israelites? Here's a white boy telling you this. and he lived among them. Right. Every week he would see them do their prayers and everything in Hebrew.
See that right there? That's going to be powerful. So when you see the brothers with the red, black, and green, come from Marcus Garvey. Right. So how can you hate on the Hebrew Israelites? Right. His own soldiers were Hebrew Israelites. See, I gave him the documentation. That's good. Right, good. Very good. You was to take the time and read it. Right. Y'all see it. Right. You'll see all of them right there standing. But here's how we know the North American Indian is a Hebrew Israelite. It's documented right there on page 126. Right there on page 126. You got to
hold it down. We're recording here.
Yes.
Now, that's just one book. I have endless sources of books. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to show you another one where they come out with this guy. When he first came to New York, he was an explorer, and he met the North American. This is a total different guy. By the way, this book was going for $5,000 on the internet. $5,000. They lowered it down, I think, to $2,000 now. Last time we checked, it was $2,000. Yeah. And you want to know why the book costs so much? We're going to read to you why.
They don't really want us.
They don't want you to get the information that's in here. Yeah, right. Or the Bible. Then we saw a Bible, one that I have, that was going for $12,000. Can you believe that? And I only paid, the original price of it was $80. So they don't want you to learn nothing. Now on page 364, this is what it says in this book here. Lost Tribes in the Promised Land. See, this is what every Hebrew Israelite group should be doing. When they talk, they should be out there proving what they're saying with facts. The Bible first, but have the archaeological facts and the historical facts to back the Bible up, because the Bible is the most accurate history book on the face of this earth. Now, I've checked out all kind of books. I've been fortunate enough in my time to teach at Columbia University. I have that documented. I have that on film. And that's not the only university I've taught at. And they don't invite idiots and dumb people there to teach. Believe that. You better know what you're talking about when you go in front of them professors and them scholars at Columbia. They will chew you up like chewing gum and spit you on the ground if you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, now this is it on page 364. I want to show you something here. When the guy first came to New York, it was called New Amsterdam. Wasn't called New York. You understand? Mm-hmm. He ran into a couple of American Indians. And here's the first thing they said. They rolled up on a little boat. There was a woman and two other Indians with her. And they spoke to this guy in the Hebrew tongue. And here's what they said. When they rolled up to him in the boat, the first thing these two Indians said, this is on page 364, in the bottom of the second paragraph. The Indians answered this guy that was standing on the water's edge. The woman got off and spoke to Francisco in the Indian tongue that Montezinos could not understand because it was Hebrew. Although he could perceive that he was being identified in conversation, she then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Upon hearing the words, they rose up and went over to Montezinos, and to his utter astonishment said, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Ehad, which means, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. We say that in here, but we say it in the pure Hebrew tongue. The so-called Jew purposely, when he translated it in a way where it wouldn't say in the so-called Aramaic, which is the real ancient Hebrew, where we say, Yeshur, Allah, Allahayna, Yahweh, Akkad, Shemaz, Yeshur, Allah. Now she's saying it's the same thing right here. I'm reading in the bottom paragraph, the second paragraph. Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, Elohim, Eloheinu, Adonai, Ehad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. There it is right there. I mean, this is right on page 364. In the bottom of the second paragraph, right there. You can read it yourself. I'm going to let you see it yourself, brother. See right here. Let me where's my pen at? Let me mark that so he can know I'm not making this stuff up. See, the Bible says, prove all things, Sinetta. Mm-hmm. If you can't prove what you're saying, it's best to go ahead and be quiet until you can get your facts together. Then you come back and, you start saying what you got to say. Here's what it says right here. And I'll let you read. See the little brackets I got right there? And you can see what it says. Now, this is when the guy first came to Amsterdam, meaning New York. Not.
The Lord is one.
Now that's an Indian speaking back to him in Hebrew.
Exactly what it said, family. That's right.
And I mean, who wrote this book? A white guy. What's his name? Beverly, what a name. Beverly Sanders. Ronald Sanders, I'm sorry. Ronald Sanders is his name. And here's his picture on the back. And on the internet, they wanted $5,000 for this book at one time. Then it went down to $2,000. I don't know what it is right now. But I know they don't want a Negro to get a hold of this book. These books cost crazy money. Now, some of them you could get off the internet for pennies off of $1. You want to say something about that?
No,
This is my time. Go ahead.
some of these books initially cost under $100. If you're fortunate, you may be able to find them, like you said, for pennies on the dollar. The problem is, once it's recognized that we are aware of what's in the information in
Published.
these books by Cambridge University. This is it right here. You can check the ISBN number and look it up. One website will tell you original cost $82. The going price for this Bible is now $2,700 up to $11,700. It's a Bible. I repeat, it is a Bible.
With the Apocrypha.
With the Apocrypha and precepts in the middle. It is a Bible.
Why would it charge that kind of price for a book
Okay.
that was originally $80?
The principal book that we should all learn and know.
It's the Bible.
And some books you can get for pennies on the dollar. Some of the history books, but you have to know what books you're looking for. And there are times when they'll publish the same book 2 times in a year and take out 50 pages. Okay? That's with the book, The 13th Tribe. I went through that. I had to go through England to get the right copy. So I have 2 copies at home.
Mention that part again.
The 13th Tribe, I had to go through England to get the correct copy because they removed 50 pages. It's published in 1975. Okay?
Right, because the original, this is the original that I have. In this book right here, a white man wrote this book. His name is Arthur Koestler. He thought he was a Jew. He was raised as one. He became a rabbi. He did the research and found out that the Negro was the Jew and that the Indians that are scattered throughout North, Central, and South America, from not only the Gadites, but the brothers and sisters in the Dominican Republic, Simeon, Reuben, which is the Indians down in Florida, the Seminole Indians, Manasseh, which is the Cubans, and the list goes all the way down to the Mexicans, which are all separated and divided now, but a remnant is going to be delivered. When this guy found that out, he got mad, and he put this book together. He's saying the 13th tribe. He's saying the only way a white man could be a Jew is that there would have to become a 13th tribe instead of 12 tribes. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, initially, there were 13 tribes when you count the tribe of Dan. Initially, there were 13 tribes when you count the tribe of Dan because Joseph, his 2 children, Ephraim and Manasseh, became separate tribes. So technically, when they walked into the promised land, there were 13 tribes. But the prophecy is that Dan as a tribe would not be recognized in the end. When you read Revelation, the 7th chapter, it tells you the list of the 12 tribes that are being accepted. So Dan now, as a people, is swallowed up amongst the other tribes. So he's saying at this point in time, there's pointed out in the Bible, there's 12 tribes to be saved. But for his race of people, in order for them to be a part of those 12 tribes, they can't. They have to be a 13th tribe once again, which there isn't.
Right. Well, I'm going to read out of the same book.
I want you to deal with the 12 tribes.
But that's what we're still on.
Okay, go ahead.
We're reading. I'm going to read. We just read why the North American Indian is a Jew. Now we're going to get the Negro. How do we know that this so-called North American Negro is the tribe of Judah? Well, number one, you get the white man telling you that in this book. And he got access to everything. A Negro is lucky if he got access to the library. But this devil here have access to everything, particularly so-called Jew. But right here in this book, and then for all of you that want this book, you got to make sure you get the original copy, which is 318 pages. If it ain't got 318 pages, then you don't have the right book, and you got a watered-down version. Because every time we show a book, they get angry, and they redo it, and they take all the facts out. Like they're doing with the Bibles, revising the Bible. Taking everything out the Bible that tells you that Jesus was black and replacing it with BS. Now, in this book, called the 13th tribe. Arthur Koestler, a Jewish rabbi scholar, states out of his own mouth about the identity of the real Jews. And let's see what he says on page 241, I think it is. Hold on one second. I'm going to read it. This is in the second paragraph. Second paragraph at the top of the second paragraph. Here's what Arthur Koestler says. That is a Jew, Jewish, and not a red Indian. I got it in brackets here. I got it marked right there. You see me got the ink around it. He's telling you that the Indians are Jews, but we're going to get to the Negro next. You see that? Now, let's read the part about the Negro, what he says about that. On page 243 at the top of the paragraph, here's what Mr. Koestler says. Or the cranky-haired Negro-type Jews. Now, that's right at the top of the paragraph. On here? You can read it yourself, sign that, I'll let you see it.
No, they see it. Trust me. Blown up right
Do you see where it says cranky-haired Negro-type Jews? You see that right over here?
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah, people gonna see it.
You see that right over there? Cranky-haired Negro-type Jews. You see it, right? Right there.
That's right. That's what it said.
Now, let's see what he say about the white people that say that they're Jews. To get that part, you got to go on page 280. So you got to read all over this book to put the pieces together. And after this guy wrote this book, they claim he committed suicide. I believe they killed him because he exposed too much knowledge. You know, telling these Jews, these so-called white folks, that they're not the Jews. How dare you say a nigger is a Jew? But that's what he wrote in his book. And, you know, it tells you what happens to anti-Semitism if Semites are not Jews at all. If these so-called Jews are not Jews. What happens to anti-Semitism if Jews are not really Semites at all, meaning white Jews? And here's what he says on page 280. 280. Bear with me one second. Oh, yeah, here it is. I'm sorry, page 289. The bottom paragraph. This is the clincher. It says this. It may also be significant that the native Israeli, meaning the white Jews that live there today, Sabra, represents physically and mentally the complete opposite of the typical Jew bred in the ghetto. That's right there in the bottom, right there. They're raised up where? In the ghetto. You see what that says right there? And now you wonder why you can't get this book? Well, I had to use Gorilla glue on this thing last night because it was falling apart. But I'm going to do even better than that, Sayonetta. I'm going to go into ancient Jewish art. I'm going to do better than that. Ancient Jewish art. And let's see what the Jews, did they look like white people during the time of Moses, or do they look like you and me, Sayonetta? That's what we're going to find out. Because I don't know, maybe, you know, it says ancient Jews, maybe they're white. I don't know. Let's just going to open the book up and see just what's in here. Page 72. Well, here it is. Lo and behold. Hold that for me, my child. Here we got Moses and the children of Israel crossing the Red Sea, looking like niggas that live in Harlem. Here they go. Negroes that live in Harlem. Yeah, right here. Get that real good. You can read the caption under here yourself. It says, are they not, and I sign that, you tell me what color these people are.
Black.
Do they look like Negroes that live around your neighborhood?
Hell yeah.
All right, then you don't get a white boy. Do you see any white faces in there?
Nope.
And what do it say? The little red caption under there, that little caption under the picture says what?
That's powerful.
What?
The Exodus from Egypt.
Right.
The crossing of the Red Sea.
Do you see a white Jew in there?
No.
And what's the name of, what's the, do you know they wouldn't let me show this book on national TV? Do you know the damn producer came out and told me, you can't show that book. I was on a national TV show that was going worldwide. And he told me I can't show it. I said, why?
I've never seen that picture before.
Yeah, I know, because This is what all the Israelite camps and groups should be doing. Instead of them taking shots at one another, making death threats to one another, they should be showing this history. In order to show it, they got to learn it first. And if they yeah, you see that? And the name of the book, make sure you get that name. You can't deny it. Look, people can get angry. You can have an epileptic fit or a heart attack, but you can't deny these facts. Ancient Jewish art. You want to know why we so hard on telling our people who they are? We have the facts. You can't get past that. And the Bible itself says that the Jews will never turn white. Did you know that? Sinetta? It says they'll never turn white. Yeah, Sinetta got to look at that. Sinetta said, I've been around all the Israelite camps. I ain't seen this. Because, see, those are still young men, and they still got a long way to go. They got a lot to learn. That's why I tell them they got to learn this history. They got to learn this history, man. Look, the pictures in here of the Israelites, some of them they tried to water down and wash down, but I wanted you to see the ones that did not get whitewashed. You understand? And that's what I showed you. Look, you know how long ago I had this book? 30 years ago. I was showing this stuff. I put a lot of work in, man. You know, I've been to Israel. You know how many times I've been to Israel? I've been to Israel and Egypt 5 times. I've been up on Mount Sinai, where Moses received the laws and commandments of God. I ain't through yet. I'm gonna. If you think that's bad, Sinetta, if you think that's bad, hold on, my child. You think that's bad, right? Sinetta's still holding on. He's so then we gonna show you something deep right now. You get ready to have a heart attack. Now I'm gonna show you Moses, King David, the prophet Elijah, Jesus Christ, the apostle Paul and Peter, and I'm gonna show you them jet black Negroes. And where's this from? All these pictures from a book called The Icon, and where the pictures from? Russia. How in the hell all the white folks in Russia know that the Jews are black and that Moses was black, but when you come to America, you see a white boy hanging on the cross that look like Charles Manson? Now, I'm going to wait till I open this up. You're going to really see something. Okay, now let me show you. You ready for this, Sinetta?
Yes, sir.
You thought that other picture was something. That's child's play to what you're getting ready to get hit with now, my brother. Now you're going to get hit with the one nuclear weapon. Moses, oh, you hear this. Page 351. So I mark all of these things. I read these books. I don't let them sit on the shelf and collect dust. I've read so many of these books, my eyes went bad, man. I had to get glasses. And I'm glad that I did because it shows the facts. Here we go. This is what I want. Here's a picture of Moses and King David. Now tell me, get a white boy. I see there right there on the right. That's Moses and King David. You want to know why we say the Negro is a Jew? Look at them two brothers, man, and tell me those ain't beautiful black men, man. Tell me they're not Negroes. Now keep in mind, I didn't say African. They're not. We're gonna get on that African subject. They're not Africans. They are Hebrew Israelites. They're Shemitic. They're not Hamitic. They're not Hamites. They're Shemites. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see the writing too on there.
Look at that. Is that power? Is that a clear picture? Look inside there. Inside there, you said, well, how come they didn't show me this stuff? Well, these brothers got to be willing to spend money to get these books, man.
Yeah,
look.
They out there teaching. They need to have that right
They
there.
need to. They need to.
You know, the people going to challenge them.
That's right. Where's your proof?
Right. You know,
don't just take shots at people and they ain't got nothing to back you up. We said the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. Well, you got to have stuff to back the Bible up.
Right there for them on the street.
That's why, look, you want to know why white boys lick my boots downtown? This is why. I got film footage, Sinetta, that I'm going to get copied, and I'm going to get some of it to you that's going to blow your mind. And I don't care if you post it, because it's going to show you me way back in the days. That these Negroes don't even know that I have this film footage of me in full force. I'm a younger man, but you're going to see me in my full fire. But let's check this out. Now, is that a bad picture?
That's awesome.
Now I'm going to show you another one. I got to show you this one. You say, now this is, all these pictures are from Russia, by the way. Why all the white folks in Russia know that Jesus is black? You got to explain that to me. Why do all the white people in Russia know that Peter, Paul, Moses, Jesus Christ, everybody to do with the Bible is black, but over here in America, everybody think he look like Charles Manson? Everybody over here think Jesus looked like Charles Manson. Well, I'm going to show you right here. Picture of Peter and Paul. They're from Russia. That's the Apostle Peter and Paul. See that right there? Peter and Paul, man. Paul is the one with the hair line receding. Peter is the one with the full head of hair. Look how black they are.
The Bible says Paul, a man untimely bald. That's how you know.
Yeah, the Bible tells you Paul had a bald head. I mean, the top of his head was bald. Yeah, they all got the beard because the beard was a manly badge of honor. See, this, what I'm doing here shows what the Bible says, prove all things. You understand? Peter and Paul were black. Did you know that the disciples were called niggers? Did you know that? No. So, give me Acts 13:1. Give me Acts 13:1. Let me get one of my students get that right quick. One of you students get that and read it right quick. Acts 13:1. Is that a powerful picture, my brother? And you want to know why we say that the Negro in America is a Jew?
Negro comes from the Latin word niger, meaning it's black.
How about this?
A country named Nigeria is named from the same word.
Right. How about this, Netta? When the Romans overthrew Jerusalem in 70 A.D., they minted a Roman coin. And in those days, they color-coded the coins. In other words, if the emperor was white, his face was white. If he was black, they painted your face black on that coin. So when they overthrew Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, a little over 2,000 years ago, they minted a Roman coin saying Judah is Copta. In other words, we have finally conquered Judah, the Negro. We got the conquering of the Jews. They are slaves now. Some of us fled out into Masada, and rather than become a slave under them, we killed ourselves up there in that mountain. The rest of us fled down into the interiors of Africa, running from the onslaught of the Roman Empire. The ones of us that did not escape, we were sold as slaves in Rome. Now, but I want to show you the coin that was minted by the Roman Empire, the unholy Roman Empire, because there was two Romes. I'll tell you about that. Name of this book is called The Bible is History in Pictures by Werner Keller. Let's see what's so significant in this book. This is going to blow your head off right here inside there. You thought you saw something. Wait till you see this. To make sure that they never forgot that they conquered us, they put this coin out. Just like you see an Abraham Lincoln coin, just like you see all these different coins that you got in your pocket. And by the way, Abraham Lincoln was black too. On here you see a Jew, a black woman, sitting down under a palm tree crying, symbolizing that Judah has been conquered, with a white man standing over her under a palm tree looking like Bernie Getz or Chuck Norris. Now, look at it, and remember I told you they color-coded the coins, right? Right. Here you see the black woman, you see a black face. You see her sitting down, her face is black, and she got woolly hair. Look at that. Take a good look at that. Blow that up big. Look at the black-faced woman looking similar to Harriet Tubman. See her sitting down? See the black face, big nose? Yep. See the white guy standing there? His face is white, his hair is straight, standing up under that palm tree? Right. Let your eyes adjust to that good. Can you really see this? Yes, that's it. Do you see that's a black woman sitting there, and there's no doubt her face is colored black? You see that? Powerful. Is that powerful? You got that blown up big? We need the overthrow of the black Jews. And is that... If you can't see that that's a black woman on that coin, then you're blinder than Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles put together. It's clear. I blew this picture up, and I had it blown up back in the days, big as that map you see on the wall there. Kodak camera company didn't want to give me the poster. Kodak, you know what they said? What are you going to do with the picture? I said, well, what you worrying about what I'm going to do with it? Well, why are you? I said, look, we're paying for it. Give us that picture. We took it out, man. Rabbi saw this and fell down on the ground crying.
Okay, now let
Yes.
me ask you now.
Yes, sir.
I still want you to deal with where did the 12 tribe chart come from? I got
That-
12 tribes up to date that we using today.
There are two primary places in the Bible. Genesis, and I'm going to read both of them to you as we go through this. Genesis chapter 49.
But hold on, before you read that.
Yeah.
You have seen archaeological evidence where the white scholars are telling you that the Negroes are Jews. Now, where do you think they got their information from? Where do you think these white scholars got their information from? They got it from the archaeological evidence that was left, the historical data, and out of the Bible. Many of them Israelites camps that you walked up to, because I've seen you on TV. You ask them, well, how do you know you're Jew? And they go to Jeremiah 14:2. It says, Judah mourneth, the gates thereof language, they are black unto the ground. Then they go to so many other scriptures that tell you that the Jews are black. But one thing they fail to do is show the archaeological evidence like we're showing you. So you want to know why we say the 12 tribe sign is up to date. We've had white guys come up to us 30 years ago. Get out, rich white guys, and get out of a limousine downtown now and point to the sign and say, how did you guys find out? And so we said, well, what do you mean? He said, that sign. How did you find out the information? We pay billions of dollars to keep that hidden. There's a book out now a white scholar wrote that went and did research on Mexico, and he came back to the same conclusion that we come to, that the Mexicans are the lost tribe of Issachar. One of my students right there is pulling that up on his phone. I hope you film that and read the caption out of the book. He went to get the book. The book was $50. When he went to get it, guess how much this bastard want for it now? $500. Don't want us to have it. We're going to get it, though. We're going to get that book, you know, but he's going to read to you. My God.
Okay, this is Genesis 49:1. We're going to go through real quick. And Jacob, the father of the Israelites, called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which may befall you in the last days. Future prophecy. So it's not the individuals, but their children. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel, because his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. Hearken unto Israel, your father. Reuben, the Seminole Indians. Thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed. He slept with his father's wife. Then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. Reuben is the Seminole Indians in Florida. When you look in books like James Adair's book, it tells you about the Seminole Indians keeping the practices of ancient Israel. Simeon and Levi are brethren. And what's ironic, Simeon today is the Dominicans, Cascaya Indians, and the Negroes over there. And Levi, the so-called Haitians, okay? And they're still living on the same island, an island together today. Our brethren.
How do you spell Simeon?
Simeon.
E-O-M?
E-O-N. And N is in Nancy.
And those are the Dominicans.
Dominicans. Starting with the Cascaya Indians. Yeah. And Levi, the Haitians. They were the priests of the ancient time. Moses was a Levite. Okay? That was changed. The priesthood is now expanded. Christ is the high priest of all Israel, and you're going to have priests out of all 12 tribes now.
No more just Levi. It's going to be all the tribes.
All the tribes.
But with the leading tribe going to be Judah.
Judah.
The one that's been rejected the most.
Right.
Negro.
So it says, verse 5, Genesis 49:5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations, witchcraft. And we see that especially amongst our Haitian brothers. O my soul, come thou not into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man. When their sister Dinah was taken by an African, they went and they tricked the Africans and killed all the men. So Jacob was upset about that. He felt they made him look bad when they did that. And in their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Okay? So the Levites, the priests, were already scattered amongst Israel from the ancient time because they weren't given an inheritance of land. They were serving as a priest amongst all the other tribes. And then when you look at the history of Simeon, they were also migrating into other areas as well. Judah, the head tribe, of which Christ came. Jesus is born of the tribe of Judah. Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. That's the head tribe. We're praising Judah starting with Christ, the so-called Negroes today.
Everybody copies them. They dance, they singing, they dress. Everybody want to be like that nigga. What is LeBron James? A Negro. Shalom.
So-called King James. Shalom. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Where's the so-called Negroes? In the top country of the world today. Right here in North America. Okay? Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. There's no respect for the Negroes now.
Hold up. I want to show him on that one thing you said. Here you got Pope John Paul II bowing down praying to Negro Jesus. Take a good look at that now.
Yeah, I saw that before.
What is he doing praying to a black Madonna? Because they're Negro. And that's what he's just reading there in the Bible. That father's children shall bow down to thee. Not only the tribes, but the whole world going to bow down to that so-called Negro. This so-called Pope knew that Jesus was black, and he would go and pray in there to him every day. While they gave us a whitewash image and got us praying to that. You understand?
So Genesis 49, verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp, a young lion. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. The prey is the Bible, the scriptures, the laws. They went away from keeping the laws. He stooped down. He couches a lion, as an old lion, like nobody can rile him up anymore. He given up.
Every time a white man put a chokehold on him. Let me say something on that. Every time a white man put a chokehold on a Negro or blow his brains out in the street, I see all this crying and marching and singing and the madness that I see going on in Missouri. And utterly, they done marched to their damn feet done damn near fell off. That's not going to change the nature of this devil and this beast. God is angry at the Negro and all the 12 tribes now because they refuse to acknowledge him. Now, marching and singing is not going to change a damn thing. And my anger is this. Why will you march and sing when a white man kills you, but you don't march and sing when you killing one another in the ghetto every day like savages? I don't hear nothing now. Oh, wait a minute, I don't hear nothing now. Meantime, back at the ranch, the Negro is killing one another like his life depended on it. Drugs, gangs, rape, black girl getting mad at another black girl, decapitating her head, cutting her body up into little pieces, taking it out to Long Island. She was angry at the girl because the girl was light-skinned and pretty and had long hair, and the other girl was dark and didn't have such long hair and talking about she owed her some money, so she going to cut the body up in all kind of pieces. But you want to march and sing, hands up, don't shoot. This cracker will kill you with your hands up, down, sideways, blindfolded. You don't care if you got them behind you. He will blow your brains out. You better look at some of them 1960s civil rights movement tapes where he was sicking dogs on kids 6 years old, spraying high-power water hose on it, going upside Martin Luther King's head with a nightstick and bombing that church down there in the South with the 3 black girls in it. These little Negroes today just running around, pants hanging off their behind, don't know to pull them up, ain't got much brains because they ain't been in no movement side of it. You and I come out of them eras of those movements back then. But these young black brothers, hard-headed, won't humble themselves so they can't learn nothing. You understand?
Okay. Now we're at the end of Genesis 49, verse 9. Who shall rouse him up? Who's going to rouse up the Negro? Verse 10, Genesis 49 and 10. The scepter, the staff of rulership, shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. Shiloh is Jesus Christ. Okay? And unto him, Christ, shall the gathering of the people be. Nobody's going to gather the 12 tribes or the Negroes together until Christ come back.
But we can't gather all these people.
Exactly.
We gather them to what? To be under you to say, how much should I say about the top? Then after that, his rent still ain't paid. You understand? His car note still ain't paid. And I don't care how many kind of programs you try to open up and nothing, you ain't got IMF money, International
Monetary Fund.
Funding. That's how all these black mega churches get funded, through the IMF, International Monetary Funding. You know? See, I could have sold out like a lot of Negroes did a long time ago, and I'd be a multi-millionaire today. But you know what? My soul was purchased a long time ago by Yahushua, and I knew I'd rather take death than sell out to the white man just for a few filthy pennies. I had money because I had successful business back in the day. A lot of people envied that and spoke a lot of lies. Some of them that spoke against me are in the grave right now. Went with hate and envy in them all the way to the grave. And now they got to meet their maker and answer for all the falsehood and lies they spoke behind my back. Last 10 years, I didn't even go on the internet and said nothing. I taught quietly in here because I saw the internet as nothing but a monitoring system, a system to monitor every Negro's activity. That's all I saw it is. And what are they doing on the internet? You know, anything that's stupid, it gets 1 million hits. It goes viral.
Somebody told me to make sure I ask
you. Okay.
About eating the babies.
Okay, that's easy to answer.
How can y'all eat your own?
That is so easy to answer. It is insane. Now, what blew my mind is when I saw you and Polite out there confronting several different Israelite groups that didn't, I don't want to call no names, but I saw several different groups out there that had a little trouble answering that question.
Right.
I don't know what happened. And some of these brothers are really smart. So I said, damn, it was like a chemical shutdown in the brain. Why couldn't they answer that question? Let me answer that question for you to clear up the nonsense about that whole issue. Look, Israelites are not perfect. We have committed sin on this earth like every other nation and every other man. It's just a difference that we're God's chosen people. And because we didn't do what God said, God beat the black off of us. And he still got his foot on our neck. Why? Because we are hard-headed, stiff-necked, wicked, low, evil people that wouldn't obey God from the very beginning. And you want to wonder why the white man putting a chokehold on you. You didn't obey God. You want to know why stray bullets hitting your children. You didn't obey God. You want to know why the white man looks at you as less than human. Because you refuse to accept the Almighty and keep his commandments. Because his commandments teach you how to be a man, how to live, how to get along with your fellow man. The reason we hate our children is very simple. I'm going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, 28th chapter, and I'm going to read to you why we hate our kids. And it's very short. I'll give you a short scenario on it. We were under Roman occupation, meaning the Romans took over Jerusalem. For 7 years, they had a siege around that entire city. No food can go in or come out. No water was allowed to go in or come out. You understand? So what other little supplies we had, that's what we had to deal with. The ones of us that didn't have the heart or the guts to stand up for righteousness and just be a man and die, whether than our kids, we were wicked as hell. During that siege of Jerusalem, we took our own children and put them in ovens and baked them and ate them because there was nothing else to eat. No food. We even sold bird dung for 50 shekels of silver and ate that. You know what bird dung is? Bird doo-doo. Listen, I'm not ashamed to admit the faults of the Israelites. You understand? The Israelites committed sin. Yes. Are they God's people? Yes. Are they God's chosen people? Yes. But why did we come here on slave ships in the first place? Because we some hard-headed niggas. Don't want to listen. Don't want to do what the Almighty told us to do. So the Almighty said, all right, y'all don't want to listen to me? I'll take that little monkey out the caves, that white boy that you don't like, and I'll raise him up over you and make a god out of him over you and have him whip your black ass anytime he wants. And now let me read to you that siege. This is in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and I'm going to go right to that verse. Instead of going through the whole chapter, I'm going directly to the question you asked. This is in Deuteronomy 28 and 53. No, but I'm going to read 52 and 53, okay? This is the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy, the 52nd and the 53rd verse. And he shall besiege thee, that he is the Roman Empire, in all thy gates until the high and the fence walls come down. And the Romans used ramrods to knock down the walls of Jerusalem. Remember I just showed you the coin they minted? Remember I showed you the coin? Then in 70 AD saying what? They conquered us, right? Didn't that just show you that in this book? All right. Now it's telling you here, they knocked down our walls, they conquered us, and the fence walls come down wherewith thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee and all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God had given thee. We would have no power to fight these Romans back. This is the bomb. This is what you wanted. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body. Our kids. That was a prophecy, Sinetta. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say your name wrong. It was prophesied, Sinetta, because of the wickedness of the Israelites, the not obeying God, not keeping his commandments, not teaching these commandments to our people, and not eventually spreading it to the other nations. God was going to beat the daylights out of us, just like he's doing now. I'll read it one more time. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy body, the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters, which the Lord thy God had given thee in the siege, in the straitness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee. In other words, they didn't let food come in or go out. They didn't let water come in. We had nothing else to eat, and we wasn't man enough to stand up and say, you know what, rather than eat my children, I'll die. But some of us was. Some of us fought the Romans, and we ran down into Africa, and the other ones ran up into Masada. Now, when the Romans finally got up on that mountain in Masada, instead of us being slaves under them, we killed ourselves. We took death. We killed our children and our own selves rather than be slaves under that white man. But the other ones, they fled down into Africa. That's where you got them thinking, a lot of them people think that we're Africans, but we're not Africans. But I'll say it again. We ate our children because there was nothing else to eat. Now, currently today, in dark parts of Africa, Pygmy tribes still eat people today. It's cannibalism. Nelson Rockefeller, the former governor of New York, his son went on an exhibition down in the darkest part of Africa, and he was eaten alive by pygmies because they said they love white meat. That's documented. You don't have to take my word for it. You can check that out. Nelson Rockefeller got so angry that he sent the entire U.S. Navy down there looking for his son. Damn general came back and said, boss, they ate your son. He's gone. And the damn pygmy leader told him, he said, look, we eat the white meat. They ate the white meat. Now, I'm not saying that to try to be funny, but what I am saying that for this reason. The Israelites aren't the only one that ever ate their kids. There was a plane that crashed some years ago up on a mountain somewhere in Europe, and they were stranded up there, and they had nothing to eat. And do you know that they started eating one another? And do you know, and they ate the dead bodies that were on of their own peers because they didn't want to die. Now, the Israelites that were surrounded by the Romans that ate their children, they were foolish. Let me show you why. If they would have humbled themselves and would have called on their God and would have acknowledged their sin, then God may have made it so that they wouldn't have to eat their own kids. The ones of us that escaped out, we didn't eat our kids. That's only the ones that was left in Jerusalem. You understand? That's why, and it still puzzles me today why I haven't seen an Israelite camp answer that question. But you know what? Here's the point. There were Israelites that faced that same type of dilemma in other instances, and they chose death rather than do something of that. And see, I'm one of those type of cats that I'll take death before I eat my own kids, man. I'll take death. Now, the other ones that they may go ahead and eat their kids, but then what did they get afterwards? They died anyway.
How you know it's not a test?
You know, but it's him. Well, no, because you know why?
Who's the strong and who's the weak?
Well, it is a test in that sense, but at the same time, the Almighty was angry at Israel. You know why? Deuteronomy 28:15. Read that, Mata. Here's why.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, and this is a good chapter. It tells you the blessings if we obeyed God and the curses if we disobey God. So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, being his laws, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
It was a curse for them to eat their own kids. It wasn't no blessing. He wasn't even really testing them. He was beating the hell out of them. So you niggas don't want to obey me. I tell you what. Y'all say y'all going to disrespect me after I delivered y'all out of Egypt, after I performed all kind of miracles, after I showed my power, after you ate angels' food that fell from heaven, manna, for 40 years in a desert where there ain't no food, where there ain't no water, and I gave you water and food in that desert, and you going to turn your damn back on me and worship a damn cow? You going to worship a stone? You going to worship a rock? You going to worship men instead of me? I tell you what, you're going to eat your own kids. And I'm going to be sitting back laughing at your calamity. Yeah, look, people don't understand this about God. They teach in the church God is all love. That's all lies. God has feelings and emotions, man. I always ask people this when they come to me with that God love stuff. They say, you know, God is all love. I said, listen, where was his love during the flood? Where was his love during the flood of Noah? He killed everybody, every animal, every insect, every bird, everything on this earth except what entered in that ark. Noah and his sons, 8 people, and the animals that were on that ark. Everything else, God smoked. And you know why? Because he's almighty and all powerful. He can kill you, but he bring you back, Sinetta. You're reincarnated. You done been and died in this earth at least 200 times. You done been back. You yourself, Sinetta.
Now, I heard you say that at the...
That's right. Yes, sir.
That was powerful right there. Go over that again.
Okay, that
something written down about
that reincarnation. Right.
Is there such thing as death? And
yes.
What happens to the body, the spirit?
Let's get that. Because you got a lot of brothers, again, lack of understanding, not wanting to accept what the Bible says, listening to man. See, when I came in One West almost 40 years ago, they had a lot of things they had wrong too. They had to be corrected. There was a lot of things they didn't know historically. They knew the basic fundamentals of the Bible, but they didn't know about the historical data, the archaeological data, and they didn't know how to read maps well and all that. Running around talking about Palestine was the Garden of Eden. When you look on any ancient map, and I have those maps. Women, you got the map down there, brother? You find out that the Garden of Eden is located in Mesopotamia, below Sumer and Akkad, which is today modern-day Iraq. So it was not Palestine. It was only said Palestine because somebody wanted it to be Palestine. This is a book of maps. And you got to be able to have common sense how to read a map. If you don't just know how to read, just say you don't know how to read. Don't jump up and declare something if you ain't got the facts to back you up. I can show you in here with facts. When you look below Sumer, see that word Sumer? That word Sumer. Now that's a map showing all the ancient world. See the word Sumer? Sumer? Correct. Look under there, Sumer, and you're going to see what it says, Garden of Eden. Yes, now let me blow that up. Let me get that map on film. There's all these little Negroes running around talking about Palestine is the Garden of Eden. Read. Learn to read.
That's right.
Now this is in biblical times. You see the name of this book? For all these Negroes that say, oh, Yashiya was wrong. You don't know what he's talking about. I would, it's one of the misfortunes of being uneducated. One of the misfortunes of being uneducated is that you will say stupid things out of your mouth without one iota of proof to back you up.
It says in Genesis, the Lord...
Yeah, I'm going to show you that Palestine was not the Garden of Eden. That Mesopotamia, which is modern-day Iraq, located under Sumer and Akkad, is the Garden of Eden. You see it right under that word Sumer. You're going to see.
It says in Genesis, the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden. Now, north, south, east, west. Palestine is the most western point in that area.
Right. So for many years, see, in One West, they taught that wrong. In the beginning, when I came in, they taught that Palestine was the Garden of Eden. Now, the brother that was teaching that, he didn't do enough research. But we did the research years later, mind you, because we just accepted what was taught to us when we came in there. And we didn't know that we had to do research on our own. And we found out that Palestine was not the Garden of Eden. Not only that, when you look in the book of 2 Kings, I don't even have to go there because we got other topics we got to speak about. When you go in the 2 Kings, it tells you that the children of Eden dwelt in Telassar. Telassar is modern day Iraq. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to have to go there because I want to cover some other subjects. But I think that map is enough to sell you, isn't it? Yeah, I should have to go to, I want to speak about death and reincarnation. Yeah, go to Job and then get the one in Ecclesiastics about death. And I'm going to get you something about.
19, 25, and 26. I spoke to Zabak last week.
Yes, sir.
And I asked him about you, and he said good things about you.
Oh, no, Zabak is a cool.
Oh, man, that's the brother. That's the man right there.
He
spoke good about you.
No, he's a cool young man. He's on the right track. There's a lot of things I would like to get with him on just to get him more updated on some things of understanding. And then you could tell Zabak, he could contact me anytime. Right. You understand? You could tell him you spoke to me and that I said good words about him. Because he's out there doing. Yeah, tell him that I said he's
always downtown.
Yeah, I know. You tell him I know that. I'm watching him. I watch all those groups out there. But I see the good points and I see the bad points. I see where they make errors historically and they make errors biblically because they don't know enough history. Another problem they have too, understand the English language. You got to understand pronouns, verbs, adjectives, past, present, and future tense. You can't just make up stuff. So you got to know what a semicolon is. You got to know what that means. When you're reading a sentence, if you see a semicolon after, what does that mean? That means stop. That's the end of that statement. You can't add on to that statement and create something else out of the imagination of your mind. Read about this reincarnation. Because I told him in the park that to slap me 5. He slapped me 5. I said, slap me 5 again. He slapped me 5 again. I said, now I hit your hand, but not one time did I touch you. Because the spirit, you are the entity. See, let me explain it to you like this.
Yeah, go in on that.
Because I'm going to speak on 2 different levels now. You are actually a celestial entity dwelling within a terrestrial body. I'll say that again. You sign that and everybody in here are celestial entities, meaning spirits. Angelic beings whose power has been cut, dwelling in terrestrial, physical, carbon-dated bodies. Now, when this carbon body can no longer function, then the celestial being, you vacate this body, and that body lays in the grave. You are not dead, but the terrestrial part of you is dead, but the living part of you is alive, the spirit. You go back to the Father that created you.
Job 14:14. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait till my change come. That change is in the last days when Christ is going to translate our bodies, the ones that are chosen, from a terrestrial body to a celestial body once again. Okay?
You are already a celestial body within a terrestrial body. But you're waiting for your full power to be restored to the celestial.
So by saying that, I take it that you believe in the UFOs.
Of course.
The aliens or something.
Well, they're not aliens. I'm going to explain to you who they are. They are your brothers and sisters from heaven, from other dimensions and from other planets. Do you know that the moon is fully occupied with beings that look like you? No, you don't tell that. They ain't going to tell you that. But we got the facts. I got film footage, and I got scriptures to prove what I'm saying. But, you're going in the Apocrypha. We're going to read to you that the moon is occupied by angels. Those angels look like you, Sayonetta. Now, you need to ask me, how do I know that other than the Bible? Yeah. Well, I have, to some, this may shock and amaze some, but I've had the good fortune in my life of meeting angels.
Some people say, now this is spooky, man. Now you're getting spooky on.
And let me tell you what's spooky. What's spooky is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. What's spooky is Santa Claus. What's spooky is a bunny laying eggs. That's spooky as hell. Look, you got people out there, two forces in this earth. There's a force of good. That is a fact. And there's a force of evil. And we see the evil got the upper hand in the earth right now, especially in the black community. You understand? They're following the ways of darkness. But angels are just as real as you and me sitting here, brother. These brothers are unstoppable. They don't make mistakes. They don't make errors. There are two different levels of angels. One is righteous, that's the good angels. The other is evil, that are demons or demonic forces. Now, in my lifetime, I have performed exorcisms with other high priests at people's houses. And when the demons come out, guess what? We took pictures of them. I got them on. Yeah, you want to see them? You ain't scared, is you? No, I got pictures of them. I can pull them out. You ain't scared. No, they can't harm you, man, unless you fall under that fear. If you're playing with a Ouija board, you ain't got a Ouija board in your house, right? No. Okay, then good, because they will. A Ouija board.
What is that?
And a Ouija board is a magic board where you can talk to the dead.
Oh, no.
No, don't have that in your house, man, because that thing will draw evil spirits. Now, let me show you right this. This was at a brother's house that we did a long time ago. His name is Mr. Robinson, and he's from Florida. I think he might be living in Florida today. But he told me one night in a class that he was having trouble in his house. I said, well, what kind of trouble are you talking about? He said, well, every time I go downstairs, they keep throwing stuff at me. So I said, what do you mean, throwing? Who's throwing stuff at you? He said, I don't know. Every time I look, ain't nobody there. I said, so come on, Mr. Robinson, what are you talking about? He said, they keep throwing stuff at me. So I said, Mr. Robinson, come on. So he went, I didn't make a big thing out of it that night. Comes back to the next class. He said, they still throwing stuff. I said, who? He said, I don't see nobody. He said, but they throwing knives at me now. So it dawned on him. I said, damn, you sound like your house got demonic possession. Like in that movie, The Exorcist. It's not just a movie, it's real. It's based on a true story. So I said, you know what? I think we're going to have to do an exorcism at your house. So me and about 3 or 4 other high priests got together, said our prayers, made sure we cleaned ourselves up, went over there in the Spirit of God and prayed in the Hebrew tongue, commanding those demons to leave that house. And I got pictures. When them demons left, they took on the shape of a body. Because, see, they can appear as a full 3-dimensional being. And if you're afraid of them, if you get that fear in you, they'll build on your fear. And they'll start tearing up stuff in your house and destroying you. That's what's the problem with a lot of Israelite brothers. They ain't got their head screwed on right. A lot of them got demonic forces in them, Sinetta. And that's why a lot of them don't know how to talk to people. Some of them got demons riding on them, think that every other word that come out of your mouth is supposed to be a 4-letter word. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you're supposed to use that type of foul language. When you're using that type of foul language, if you can look, you can see the class is starting to get pretty full, Sinetta. For all those brothers say, I stopped teaching and I disappeared and left the country, I'm on the highway and all this, a bunch of madness, But I want to show you the pictures of these demonic forces. When they came out of the house, they took on the shape of a body. This is Mr. Robinson's house. And you can see the head shape, the arms and the shoulders, and almost like one of them has wings. But they took like now that's in broad daylight. That's not a camera trick. Yeah. They're taking on the similitude of men. But see, they're spiritual beings.
Where is that at in Harlem?
This is in Harlem. And this is the house we performed the exorcism on. Now, I ain't through yet. I'm going to show you another picture.
Yes.
They changed from that form, listen at this sign, and then they changed to what appeared to be like a flame of fire, but they're not burning nothing. Look at that. Take a good look at that. They're standing over garbage cans as pure energy. You only seen this in Star Trek, brother. But this is the real McCoy. This ain't no Star Trek here. They came out of that house, and you know what they did? They jumped on this brother with about 6'4", wore about 300 pounds. They entered into his body and tore his behind up in the middle of the street, man, trying to curse us out as we left. But he said he never had trouble in his house no more after that. He never had any trouble. So I keep these things as documents. You understand? Okay. Now let's get some more on this reincarnation about this death. Because when you ask about death, you're asking about a subject that most people don't want to talk about. Most of them are afraid of.
Ecclesiastes. Well, we're going to talk about the angels on the moon, or we're going to talk about reincarnation still.
I want to still talk about the reincarnation.
All right.
Because I want to show you that there is a place for
Ecclesiastes.
you after death. Now I'm in 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. And I want to read what the Apostle Paul said very quickly. Shalom, sisters. Glad to see y'all in here. As you can see, this is a Sionetta TV. This is the brother Sionetta. He's been around for a long time. And he's a great man doing a lot of work in Harlem with different groups. And he's come here to interview me because he's been told a lot of information about me. And I've developed a rapport with the brother. And I find the brother to be a decent man. So I've, decided to give my time over to him to promote truth and honesty and righteousness. And that's what we're doing here today. Now, do you think all these people would be coming in here signing that if they wasn't learning nothing? It's free. It don't cost them nothing. And it's free. Now, I want to show you something.
Myself, I told you, they said, they was telling me that you don't teach no more. Stop teaching. So.
Yeah, well, tell them to prove that.
See, the family is right here.
I want to show you something. Now, this girl here is only 12 years old. Come up here 1 second, Shemaiah. Now, I want to show you something, Sinetta. Just keep in mind, this ain't a grown person.
Right.
Come over here, all the way over here. I want you to get her on camera. Now, yeah, stand over here with me for a second. She's 12 years old. 12. Now, I want her to explain to you what the average Negro don't know out there in the street. Explain what Project Bluebeam is.
Project Bluebeam is basically where the government is shooting up satellite discs into space to make it come down. Later on, they're going to make an image come down out of holograms to make it seem like Christ is coming to persuade a lot of people.
But it's going to be what? Images or what?
It's going to be a hologramic picture.
Right. And who's going to do this?
Esau and the government.
Right. In other words, they're going to shoot down fake holograms down into major cities to make people really think that Jesus is back when it's going to be nothing but a phony hologram.
I heard that before.
Right. And they're going to do the same thing with the UFOs. She's only 12 years old. How many kids you ever heard talk like that? You can have a seat, go back.
12 years old.
12 years old. Give her a hand, class. And they said, oh, Yashiya, stop teaching, huh? Let me tell you something, man. I never stopped teaching. Just because I'm not on the corner with a bullhorn shouting out obscenities at everybody that go by and threatening people and spitting at people and doing all kind of foul things, that don't mean I stopped teaching. See,
when I first met you in the park at the ISUPK cookout,
yeah.
I knew you loved to teach, man. You ain't stopped talking when I first got in there, and it was going, I leave, another group will come around you. They leave, another group will come around you.
And what did the commanding general tell you, that I was his what?
He brought you up to the front.
He told you that I was his what?
He said you was his
Mentor and teacher.
Mentor and teacher,
Yeah.
correct.
And he's been knowing that I've been a high priest.
So I got that on film.
But he's been knowing that I've been a high priest well over 25 years ago. Look, I got him on film when he was a youngster, just got out.
They cadence before they, because when he come in, they stop, they do something.
Right, okay.
Don't do that. We got a higher rank in here.
I didn't even know that.
Come on, there. He said that.
Well, I didn't even know that. But that's he knows, look, when he came in, and, he's a hard-working man. He was a youngster fresh out of high school. He was a champion wrestler. And we took him right under our wing, man, and treated him. He's like a son to me. Now, them young boys that's around him, them young guys that's around him, they don't know that. They don't know any of that. They basically know nothing about me.
He came to see me, and he spoke right there in front of my spot right there.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, man.
That's good.
Yeah, he spoke right there.
That's good. That's good.
He killed me.
Well, no, he's a firebrand, man. He's Benjamin. He's fire. But anyway, getting back into the 5th chapter of Acts. 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. This is what the Apostle Paul said. For we know that if our earthly house, meaning our human body, of this tabernacle were dissolved, meaning if you drop dead, we have a building of God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. meaning when you die, your spirit leaves the body and it's eternal. Your spirit never dies. You understand? Also, contrary to what a lot of Israelites are out there saying, there is also a heavenly paradise with God out there in the fourth dimension, in the spirit world. That's why Christ said that out of his own mouth when they were murdering him on the cross. When the two thieves was hung, one thief on one side of him and another one on the other side, and one of them was trying to ridicule Christ, and the other thief told him, shut your mouth and be quiet, man. We're hanging up here because we are thieves. We got what we deserve, but this man committed no sin. And he said, Lord, remember me when you enter into your kingdom. Christ looked at that guy and said, look, believe me, today, brother, you're going to be with me. Today, not when you die and come back. Let's make that clear. Not when you die and come back, but today. In other words, when you drop dead today, you're going to be with me in paradise. So if there is no heaven for all these ones that's out there running around talking about there is no heaven, where do the spirits go when they leave? Chicago? The Arctic Circle? Where do they go? They go back to the God that created them in heaven. There is a spirit world. And just like we got laws down here on this earth, God has laws up there in the heaven, Sinetta. And guess what? I know they ain't going to like this part. There's a prison for you too also when you die called hell. Christ spoke about that many times in the Bible. A lot of brothers don't want to believe there's a hell because the initial teaching in One West 35 years ago, almost 40 years ago, that there was no hell under the ground. Guess what? That part they had right. There ain't no hell under the ground. There's a lot of oil under the ground, diamonds under the ground, there's gold under the ground, and the earth is hollow. That's another thing brothers don't know. We live on a hollow earth. But there is a hell in outer space, in the fourth dimension, in the spirit world. And if you didn't do righteousness on this earth before God, you can be sentenced to that hell. And we can read that out of the Bible. We can read, every culture knows that. But you got Israelites running around out there because they're misinformed and because they do err and not know in the scriptures that there ain't no hell. Oh, yes, there's a hell. Just like Rikers Island. That's like a hell for you when you got to go there, right? But so you don't tell me, now listen at this, Sinetta. A nigga is on this earth, right? He done killed people, raped, robbed, murdered. He's a drug dealer. He done everything the heart could think of that's evil. But as soon as this nigga dies, St. Peter got the gate open for him in heaven.
Welcome, my son.
Welcome? Does that make sense to you? No. There ain't no heaven for him. There's a place called hell, a prison for lost souls, where he's going to be with the demonic forces and Satan. And Satan is a homosexual. So what the first thing, oh yeah. So what's the first thing you think going to happen when you get there? Yeah, he gonna tap that booty. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get what's coming to you because you didn't want to be right on this earth. But you got a lot of brothers that run around there. They're going to learn one day. They don't think there's a hell. But right here, Paul is telling us there's another place that we can go to in right here in the 5th chapter of Acts.
Yeah. Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter in the Bible, and the 21st verse. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 21. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? In other words, when men die, they go into the heavens. Right. When animals die, their spirit remain on the surface of the earth.
Right. So okay. How you gonna tell me when a man dies, he goes up to heaven, but he doesn't go to a place, Sayonetta. He's just floating around in space. So that would mean what? Where's God then? Is God just floating around in space? God tells you where he's at is like power. Yeah, but not only that, but God, because his power is infinite, but God actually has a place in space where he tells you, I got a throne up there. I got 10 trillion angels that stand before me ministering. I got a choir that sings before me. My throne is overlaid with gold. God is not no cheap cat, man. God is classy. And he got a throne for his son, Christ, sitting on the right-hand side of him. He got 24 angels that circle his throne, 24. Each of them are called elders. Each one of them control an hour in the day. There's 24 hours in a day, 24 angels. Each of them control 1 hour apiece, making up a day. You understand? There is a heaven, and that's some teaching that these brothers got to get through their head, because they're going to learn it now or they're going to learn it when they drop dead and have to go up there to heaven. And if they wasn't right, guess where they're going? Not a nice place. They're going to be down there with them fallen angels, them wicked angels, those demons. And those demons, they come out of a place. They got a home. It's called hell. But let me read this. Second verse. For in this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed upon with our house which is from heaven, meaning to be given spiritual power to our bodies, to our spirit. If so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, meaning in the human body, being burdened not for that we should be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. In other words, so that we can live forever. When the Lord comes back in the UFOs and save that remnant of Israel, in the twinkling of an eye, you're going to be made into a god. You're going to be given angelic powers, and you're never going to know death again. Let's read on. Now he that had wrought us for the selfsame thing is God, who also had given us the earnest of the Spirit. Therefore we are always confident, knowing that while we are at home in the body, while you're living on this earth in a human body, we are absent from the Lord. If you're down on this earth and you're alive, you ain't out there with the Lord. You're down on this earth. So where's the Lord? He's out there in the heavens, in paradise, in another dimension, where you see tall buildings, trees, lakes, people that you wouldn't believe, man. The angels live on some of these planets. See, there's angels in a ranking system. There's angels that have high rank. There's angels that got low rank. But they all live like gods, man, on the moon, on Mars, on Saturn, on Venus. Those planets are occupied with major cities located all over them, and the government knows it. And we're keeping that hidden from the public. Let me read on. The eighth verse, no, 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body. Paul is saying, I'd rather be dead and to be present with the Lord. In other words, Paul said that if you kill me, it ain't no big deal, because I will be with God, then I will be with the Lord. So kill me. That's what Paul was saying. Wherefore we labor, that whether present or absent, we may be accepted of him. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad. So there is a heaven, Sinai. Not only that, we could go into Apocrypha, because I know a lot of hard-headed Israelites, they're so spent on man's thoughts instead of what the Bible is saying. They don't want to believe there's a heaven. They just think that when you die, that's it. Which is complete stupidity and madness. There is a heaven. Where do you think you come from? God said before he formed us in the belly of a woman, he knew us. Now, how did he know you before you was born? Yeah, what was you before you was born? You was a spirit living in the heavens with God. And he decided that you would be down here on this earth and have a human body and play a particular part on this earth. Just like you, your life. You run around interviewing people from all over, doing all kind of stuff. A lot of people love you, and there's a lot of niggas that hate you. The haters don't even know why they hate you. These niggas that hate you have demonic entities within their bodies, and they just hate because they don't know nothing else to do in life. They don't have a life.
Never met me or nothing.
They don't have a life. They see you with a life. They actually wish they could be you.
Let me tell you something, brother. I went downtown, right? And I'm quite sure everybody, see, I'm saying this, not you, so I can say the name. GMS. We know GMS talk about everybody. They talked about me, they talked about Polite. But when I went down there, and as soon as they see me, Brother Tahar, oh, Brother Sonetta, what's up, brother? Come on over here, brother. Come on over here, film me. I mean, that's when me and Polite started interviewing them. They was talking about we could rape little girls, 13-year-old babies. You know what I'm saying? But prior to that, we were agents. We was all kind of stuff. As soon as they see me walk by, they grab me and hug me. Oh, brother, good to see you, brother. They talking about everybody. They said, you, brother, you got all this money and you don't teach no more.
That's a lie.
Let
Let me say this.
Saying is these brothers make the Hebrews look real
Bad, but they're making themselves look bad because they're walking around.
But see, the people that's just walking, they don't say them brothers. They say, oh, the Hebrew Israelites. Them Hebrews is talking about they can have women and rape little babies. They don't just say what group it is.
Right.
They say
They don't understand that there's different factions of Hebrew Israelites, and some are confused and some are not confused. I remember that brother when he was a young man. He used to be a soldier under me, man. I got films that'll blow your mind.
Yeah, Zabak told me that they were there together. They said they was in
One West.
Together.
Right, but I was in a very high position when they came in. Mm-hmm. You know, they were never had achieved the level of priesthood that I did. And I didn't make myself a high priest. I was made a high priest by priest Mashah and Ariah. And I have that on film. I could blow this internet up real bad with some of the stuff I got, man. On some of these cats that's running their mouth saying stuff about me. I got them on tape. You understand? Acknowledging my position and power and all of that. And I've never said nothing bad about them in 10 years that I left from over 1941 because of the infiltration that happened over there with the government. You're going to run around and you're going to have somebody over there now claiming to be the Almighty? Yeah, they got a dial and all that kind of stuff. Listen, they know about the dial, but you know what? I wasn't going to be subject to that kind of madness. And the lies and the propaganda they spoke about me. He murdered a guy, buried the body in the basement. He stole $1 million. They never. Me and my wife have owned this building for over 20 years. I was worth more than $1 million. I was driving a brand new Rolls Royce. And you know what people were jealous of? Because I made my own money. I had 2 stores. I had one in Jersey. I had one over here on Fifth Avenue with High Priest Kazak. And I was making a lot of money and money I made off this building. And had brothers in the school living in the building. Some who didn't pay me rent for over a year. And I still didn't throw them in the street. So to go behind my back like a snake and speak lies, God said you're going to answer for all the things that you're doing. All this nonsense, they thought they killed my spirit. I'm 10 times smarter now than what I was 20, 30 years ago. I learned more. And I have the facts. Show me something I said to you today that I wasn't able to substantiate with historical, biblical, archaeological facts. Show me. Name one thing.
But there's one more question
I
got before I leave.
Right, I know. And then I got to tell you this too.
Okay.
We overthrew the Roman Empire. And we ruled Europe for 1,000 years. And you want to know why white people hate blacks so bad? It's because some of them know that history. See, there were 2 Romes. The first Rome only ruled the world for 200 years. That was under the white man. The second Rome was an overthrow of the Roman Empire by a guy named Severus Septimius, a black gladiator, a Hebrew. Thus, he became one of the first emperors to sit on the throne of Rome, and later the name was called the Holy Roman Empire. Now, I'm going to show you something you ain't never seen before. Sinetta, we ruled not only Rome, but name any part of Europe. Any.
I got one on my mind.
Look, there's nowhere you can name that we didn't rule. We ruled all of England and Scotland and Germany and France and Spain. Georgia, Russia? Yeah. We ruled all of Russia. All of it. I was showing you.
That's where the Europeans came out of the cave.
They came out of the Khazars. The Khazars, yeah. But guess what? I can prove to you that the Khazars originally were the children of Gehazi, a white boy that used to be a servant to Elisha. You got Israelites running him out saying Yashiya was wrong on that. Well, I got the documented facts to prove what I'm saying. They said I was wrong. Tell them to prove I'm wrong. I got the facts to prove that I'm right. I got facts to prove that white people are Edomites. But I want to show you this one thing before.
That's what I wanted to
Edomites, yes.
I wanted you to prove to me
that
white people are the Edomites.
Very.
See, they didn't say that, but they never
Okay, let's.
Is there any proof in the Bible?
Yes, there's plenty of proof in the Bible, but I want to show you archaeological proof.
Go ahead.
I want to show you that a day, look, when we ruled Europe, Queen Elizabeth I was black. Henry VIII was black. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All black. Mary, Queen of Scots, was black. King Arthur was black. Hell, Edward the Black Prince, I mean, do I have to tell you he was black? King James, that translated the Bible out of the Hebrew, was black.
You know the word is on the street as he was gay, he was almost...
No, well, that's a lie, because you know why? Because racist writing by a guy that was jealous of him, that didn't like him, said that after his death. Because King James told Viceroy, the man, if you bring the cigarette here to England, to my people, you're going to be put to death. Don't try to bring no damn cigarette here.
That's
King James...
Because
King,
you know what they saying about Malcolm X now.
yeah, some of them trying to say he was gay. Malcolm was not gay, man. They need to be put...
Another book on the history.
Well, I don't give a damn. You know what? They can write... Look, they said that Jesus was gay because he had 12 apostles. Christ wasn't gay. They said that Jesus married some girl from, what, Europe or England or something. That's a damn lie, man. I mean, you know, them niggas might try to say you're gay or that I'm gay. And I know they won't come to my face and say that. They know I know how to fight. They know that I know martial arts pretty well. I've been doing it a long time, more than 40 years. I've been doing martial arts about 45 years. And I came up in an era when you didn't wear no protection or nothing. If you didn't block, your damn ass got knocked out. I used to knock the teeth out of white boys' mouths. I got film footage. I was just showing a brother an exhibition I did 30 years ago. Did I not show you that today, Karakabar? So none of them, look, I laid on nails, got beat with baseball bats, changed, did the iron body technique, went into the spiritual aspect of martial arts. I came up with great men like Lil John Davis and Moses Powell and Charles Hatchett and all them people. I know about Ernest Hyman and all that. Yeah, Moses Powell, that's my man. That's my man, Moses Powell. That's the human wrecking machine. A lot of these guys now, that in these schools now, don't want to give him credit, but none of them would never touch him. They wouldn't go in his face and say that. They talk from a distance. But while that man was alive, they wouldn't say nothing else. Let me tell you something. I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to show you us ruling England. Total power. You're going to see the flag of England over our head. Where a day's business consisted of a king, who was ever the king in that time. The regular business was to go round up white boys and put them in damn jail. Like you round up niggas down for nothing and lock them up. That's what we was doing to them, Slynetta. And that's what I'm going to show you that. Hold on 1 second. I got to show them. You see the name of this book? This ain't a cheap book. The British Oxford. You see what that says? The Oxford Illustrated History of British Monarchy. Now on the book they show you all white faces on here. That's a scheme. That's a front because all of these people were black. This supposed to be Queen Elizabeth, but Queen Elizabeth right here. That might be that's some cracker. That's not King James, though, but let me say this. Queen Elizabeth was black as tar. I've seen the original images of her in the Brooklyn Library. I only seen it once. Huh? We got it in Fairborn Script, but I don't know they show a white picture. Queen Elizabeth, I'm not sure. Hold it. Now you done made me do something. Now you're making me pull out another. You're making me pull out. I didn't want to have to do this. I really didn't want to have to do this. But you forced my hand now. Now I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to show you that black people, Negroes, Hebrew Israelites, ruled all of Europe, the United States, the Caribbean, Russia, Sweden, France, Germany, Ireland, Australia, South America, Asia, China, and Japan. For 1,000 years of the so-called Middle Ages or Dark Ages. Hell, but we had China for 4,000 years. That's a whole nother story. Because you're going to find out later on, guess what? I'm going to drop a bomb on you now. The Chinese are your brothers and sisters and the Japanese. They're not Contrary to the teaching that went on in 1 West, they are not Moabites and Ammonites. I can prove that in the Bible, and I can prove that historically with historical and archaeological data that they are called Asiatic Negroes. This is an image. Here's Queen
It's
Elizabeth
also in J.A. Rogers' book.
This is in J.A. Rogers' book. This is a picture of Queen Elizabeth I right here. But I got it in my book, right in the middle. Look at her. It's a black woman with nappy hair. That's the original image of her, but I got a darker image. See? You see that's a black woman with nappy hair. Queen Elizabeth I. Yeah, I'm a short. That ain't nothing there. Wait. That's Henry the VIII, Chancellor. Let me show this one thing. I got to show you that when we overthrew Rome, that we set ourselves up as kings all over Europe, and we have what they call coats of arms. You know, that's what a king has, a coat of arms. You understand? Mm-hmm. So when you're a king, whatever kingdom you rule over, you set your coats of arms up. Now I'm going to show you that this brother named J.A. Rogers, and these are not the only sources. I got other sources. We were ruling families, Negro ancestry, French, Italian, Spanish, Polish families, all black. Look at the king's coats of arms over France, Poland, Spain, Germany, and all black people, man. Get a white one out of there.
Yes, sir.
Now I want you to explain to me, who are these black kings ruling Europe?
Hebrew Israelites.
For 1,000.
Some people say the Moors.
Yeah, but look,
And
the Moors.
Hebrews were the guys.
Yeah, but listen, hold it. The word Moor means black. There was a faction, let me explain that. There was a faction of Moors that became known as Islamic or Muslim in Spain. But the word Spain itself comes from the word Ibri. Ibri means Hebrew. I got pictures of black men in Spain with the Star of David, the 6-point star, and a flag with the Star of David ruling Spain. But now, yeah, you seeing these guys here as rulers, and these are not Muslims. You know how I know they're not Muslims? Guess how I know they're not Muslims?
How you know?
They got the Star of David on their coats of arms. They got the Star of David on their coats of arms. Look here, look at this one right here. So I got the arrow pointed right there on the corner. Mm-hmm. That's the Star of David. That's not the crescent. You don't see the Muslim crescent nowhere on none of these coats of arms. And we got the flag of England over our head. What you're going to see in this image is 5 Supreme Court justices sitting on the bench with red robes on. You're going to see court officers, prosecutors, and other court officers in the court. And they're bringing before the judge prisoners. All of the court officers, all of the judges, all of the prosecutors are black. All of the prisoners are white. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show it. That's because we were in power. Hold on. Take a good look there. Get a close-up of that, brother. Look at the Supreme Court justices, black. Black as they want to be. Look at the court officers and all that, black. Look down at the bottom of the prisoners is all chained up looking sad. White boys, Edomites. Do you see them white boys at the bottom all chained up looking like they crawl out of a damn sewer? See them down at the bottom?
Yeah.
And who they being brought before? Black people. Court officers black, the CO is black with an afro, everything's black on there. All the prisoners are what?
The court officers is on the top, right?
Yeah, these are the judges on the top.
Oh,
you see the court officers down there with the staff in his hand with the big afro and all that?
Right.
The black guy, he's like a CO, he's a policeman.
I think you could do a powerful PowerPoint lecture. You ain't do that yet. See,
I have spoken at colleges and all
I
that.
said a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
A PowerPoint is where you have all of them images
Right.
on a big wall.
Yeah.
Through the computer, where they, that's how we do that.
I need to do that.
Yeah,
I need to
that'd
do
be
that.
powerful right
But
there.
did you get that good?
Yes, I got that, but I want to get this before I go.
Okay.
I'm gonna read it for you. Book of Obadiah.
These two questions.
Book of Obadiah, Old Testament.
Edomites.
Edomites.
I got one last question.
Okay. Obadiah is one chapter, but I'm gonna read different sections. Verse 1, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, or Edomites. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen, amongst the nations. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, talking about Edom. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, skyscrapers. That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
What's the symbol of America? The eagle.
From the time of Rome.
What did the Romans carry? The eagle.
The Germans.
What did the Germans carry? The eagle. What did the Spaniards carry? The eagle. What did the Greeks carry? The eagle. I could go on with this eagle. All of the white power structures carried what? The eagle. What does America carry? The eagle. Something like they landed on the moon. I'm going to hit you with something.
Oh, gosh.
They never made it. Right. That's why the furthest they got was Arizona. But go ahead.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars, space station.
Brothers read that and they think that that means that they went to the moon. I used to believe that too. I used to really believe that they went to the moon. Nobody couldn't tell me they didn't go to the moon until I found out from about the Van Allen radiation belts that surround the earth, that stretch out for 25,000 miles, that are more powerful than any nuclear weapon that we have down here. In other words, if you try to go out through those radiation belts, you will get cooked like a French fry in hot grease. But that's not enough. When Neil Armstrong, before he died, and you can Google this up on the internet, he was one of the ones that claimed walking on the moon, right? Before he died, he came out of his mouth and said, look, the furthest we got to the moon is a recording studio. And we had to make sure we didn't trip over the wire. He said they never made it to the moon. It was a joke. That was set up by Richard Nixon to try to deceive the whole world that they had the technology to actually go to the moon when they know damn well that two guys was walking around in a spacesuit at night in Area 51 attached to a crane with holes blowed in the ground with dynamite to try to make it look like the surface was the moon. It was a movie skit. They never went to the moon. President Obama, out of his own mouth during a speech one time, not long ago, they asked him, said, President Obama, when are you going to open back up the space program for us to go back to the moon? You know what Obama said? We don't have the technology to go to the moon. He slipped up and said that. I said, damn. He said that, and then one of his handlers said, Mr. President, you can't bring that out. You have to stop. He changed the subject. They never went to the damn moon, man. No human can go through the Van Allen radiation belts and suffer. So when you read in Obadiah, it says, though thou set thy nest among the stars, that's the white man putting a space station out there. What does America have? The ISS, International Space Stations. What do the Russians have? The Mir space station. What is a nest? A bird lives in a nest. What is a dwelling place? The moon, they never got there. I can tell you who is on the moon, though. Angels. Elizabeth, did you finish that?
I'm going to read this real quick. This is in the Apocrypha of the Bible. Ecclesiastes chapter 43, verses 6 through 8. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times, and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The moon is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above.
The armies that dwell above are the angelic beings. And one of the instruments, one of the dwelling places that they have is the moon. White people see flying saucers coming and going from the moon day and night with their telescopes and all of that. But you want me to prove that these Edomites are white folks? Well, that's real easy. Right here in this book. Now, we know that white men are claiming to be Jews, are they not? Mm-hmm. Okay, give me Revelations 2:9. Now, this is right here on page 138. The name of this book is called The Jews and Their Land. It's written in Hebrew on the front, but they ain't going to understand the Hebrew, so I'm going to just show the name.
That says Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya. That's in the
What that mean? Ashaya?
I am that I am.
I am that I am.
Yahweh is a different name.
Or in other words, I be that I be.
Yeah.
So a lot of Israelite groups are mixed up on that, talking about Yahweh is not the name of God. Look, God used different names in the beginning, like Elohim, or Allah Shabia, Allahayim, the terrible power. But the last name that God instructed Moses to call him by was Yahweh. And that's used through Isaiah, Jeremiah, and all the prophets. So why are these little Israelite groups popping up on the internet looking like they smoked some bath salt or something out of their mind, talking about nobody knows God's name? No, Negro, you don't know God's name. That's why you have no knowledge. That's why you don't know nothing. That's why you're confused. That's why you still running around, can't get it right. And they're confused when look, you're going to obey God or man. We obey God. He told Moses, your fathers didn't know me by the name I'm going to tell you now. And that name is Yahweh. You know, that's right. Not Allahayim, not no Yashiya. They're just as great. Hell, that's my name. Do you know what the word Yashiya means in Hebrew? It means Isaiah. Victory. God of victory. Victory. God's victory. You understand? Yeah, you know, right here on page 138, the name of this book is called The Jews in Their Land. The Jews in Their Land. Now, read before I even read what I'm going to read. Read Revelations 2:9.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
They're not Jews, man. But did they become Jews? Yes, they did.
By converts. Being converts.
They became Jews through conversion. Let me read that right here. And this is a book they wrote. I didn't write this book. Let's see what they say. It says, the whole of Idumea, parentheses, Edom, became a part of Judea, and its inhabitants were converted to Judaism. Its inhabitants, the Edomites, converted to Judaism. From then on, the Idumeans or Edomites were an inseparable part of the Jewish nation. Their leading families occupied positions of authority in the Hashmonean state.
Leading up to Herod. That led up to Herod being governor over Judea.
Yeah, I'm not making this up.
And in certain books it said that Herod was called the Idumean slaves by the Jews. Idumean slaves.
Yes, sir.
Is this Africa or what? Oh, you already know. How you
I'm just taking a wild guess.
Nah, you
Wild guess.
it's definitely Africa. You right on it too.
Wild guess.
For
Yeah.
the Hebrews to say that they are not Africans and that Africans are the Edomites.
No, not Africans are not. Hamites. Hamitic. Right.
You come out of Africa.
Yeah, but
They
we.
put you on the slave ships and brought you over here.
That's a good point. But okay, let's talk about that. But we didn't originate in Africa.
How did you end up in Africa?
We ended up in Africa. As I said earlier, I'll say it again.
I already know what you said.
We fled,
Been there, right.
running from the onslaught of the Roman Empire.